All right, and you are here with Senora DeVries, and we are going to read Chapter 14, the Constitution. What are the key features of the U.S. Constitution? 14.1 Introduction. In Chapter 13, you read about how Americans won their independence. Now that the United States was a separate nation, it needed a government to protect its citizens and to maintain order. Many leaders saw the need for change. In this chapter, you will learn about how the young nation's leaders formed a new national government. The Articles of Confederation was a document that set up the nation's first central government. This government had limited powers, and it was too weak to keep order. In 1787, the states called a meeting to improve the Articles of Confederation. This meeting was called the Constitutional Convention. Instead of revising the Articles, the convention delegates wrote a new constitution. This document describes how the new government would work. It also sets up rules and laws. The United States Constitution creates a strong central government. It divides the government into three parts or branches. Each branch has its own powers and responsibilities. To keep any one branch from becoming too powerful, the Constitution includes a system of checks and balances. Under this system, each branch limits or checks the powers of the others. The Constitution also set up a federal system in which power was divided between the national and the state governments. Some say the Articles of Confederation were as unsteady as a one-legged stool. Look at the drawing of the stool at the right. As you read this chapter, think about how this three-legged stool can be compared to the government set up by the Constitution. 14.2 The First Government, the Articles of Confederation. After declaring independence from Great Britain, the Second Continental Congress approved a document called the Articles of Confederation. The Articles created a weak government called the Confederation Congress. This Congress managed the war against Great Britain. It also worked to solve common problems. The Congress could declare war and pass laws, but every law had to be approved by at least 9 of the 13 states. The new government had no president and no court to settle disputes between states. Once the revolution ended, the Congress had a hard time solving the new country's problems. Most of the power was held by the states. Each state still issued its own money. The Congress had no power to collect taxes or to force the state to give its funds. It could not support a national army to protect American citizens. It could not even pay the soldiers who fought in the war. Many times were hard. Many soldiers and poor families lost their homes because they could not pay their bills. Some of them were jailed. One farmer complained, "The great rich men are going to get all we have, and I think it is time for us to rise and put a stop to it." In Massachusetts, a former soldier named Daniel Shays agreed. He and hundreds of other men took part in an armed revolt. They tried to stop the state courts from taking people's property. Their fight against the government became known as Shays' Rebellion. This violence worried the nation's leaders. Some saw the need for a stronger government that could pay the nation's bills, settle disputes between states, and maintain order. Here, a farmer attacks a government official during Shays' rebellion as others cheer him on. This uprising frightened many leaders. They saw the need for a change. 14.3 A New Government, the Constitutional Convention. In May 1787, 55 delegates met in Philadelphia. Their plan was to improve the Articles of Confederation. Instead, they wrote an entirely new document. Today, their meeting is known as the Constitutional Convention. The delegates came from all the states except for Rhode Island. There were some of the best known leaders in the nation. As a group, they were better educated and richer than most Americans. All were white men, many were lawyers. There were also doctors, merchants, farmers, and former soldiers. Several delegates played key roles. As president of the convention, George Washington kept the debates respectful. Benjamin Franklin, then 81, calmed tempers. James Madison of Virginia designed a plan for a strong national government. Gouverneur, his first name Morris, of Pennsylvania, wrote much of the final draft of the Constitution. The men worked hard during that hot summer. Some, like Madison, wanted a strong central government. Others feared losing freedoms if the government had too much power. In the end, the delegates agreed to a federal system. This meant that power was divided between the state governments and a strong national government. They separated the power of the national government into three parts or branches. The legislative branch would make the laws, the executive branch would carry them out, the judicial branch would settle disputes over the meanings of the laws. And up here we have this 1788 cartoon shows that 9 states had approved the Constitution. New York and Virginia were about to add their votes. As you read the words, note that the letter S sometimes looks like the letter F. All right. And then we have some vocabulary here to the right. We have legislative branch, the branch that makes the laws. To legislate is to make laws. Executive branch, the branch that carries out or executes the laws. And the judicial branch, the branch that interprets laws and settles disagreements about them. Judicial comes from the word judge. One fierce debate was about the number of representatives in the legislative branch. Larger states wanted the number to reflect how many people lived in each state. Smaller states feared they would have little power under such a plan. They wanted each state to have the same number of votes. At last, the two sides reached a compromise. They accepted Roger Sherman's idea for a legislature with two parts or houses. This idea was called the Great Compromise. On September 17, 1787, after 4 months of hard work, most of the delegates signed the Constitution. By June 1788, 9 of the 13 states had approved it. The United States had a new government. And then to the left, we have the word compromise, an agreement in which each side gives up some of what it wants. 14.4 Making the Laws, the Legislative Branch. The Constitution is organized into 7 main parts, or articles. Article 1 describes the legislative branch, or Congress. Congress makes the laws. Congress is made up of 2 houses, the Senate and the House of Representatives. Every state elects 2 members, called senators, to the Senate. In the House, the number of representatives depends on the number of people who live in a state. States with more people have more representatives in the House. This joint meeting of members of both the Senate and the House is taking place in the chamber of the House of Representatives in the Capitol. Congress meets in the U.S. Capitol building in Washington, D.C., shown here. To make laws, members of Congress write bills. If a majority in both houses of Congress votes to pass a bill, it is sent to the head of the executive branch, the President. If the President signs the bill, it becomes a law. If the President refuses to sign a bill, Congress can overrule the President's decision. A two-thirds majority of both houses must vote to overrule the president. Otherwise, the bill does not become a law. The legislative branch has many other powers. The Senate approves or rejects the people the president chooses to fill key jobs. The Senate must approve the president's choices for ambassadors. Ambassadors represent United States in foreign countries. The Senate must approve the president's choice of federal judges. It also approves members of the president's cabinet. A cabinet is a group of advisors to the president, including the heads of important departments in the executive branch. Congress has some powers in foreign affairs, or the business that the United States conducts with other countries. Two-thirds of the Senate must vote to approve a treaty between the United States and another country. And both houses of Congress must give approval before the United States can declare war on another country. The Constitution also gives Congress ways to remove people from the other branches who abuse their powers. The House can impeach president, judges, and other officials. The Senate can put an impeached official on trial. If the Senate finds the person guilty, that official must resign from his or her job. Article 1 gives other powers to Congress. It can collect taxes. It can also create a national currency or a system of money. The word impeach means to accuse or charge a government official, such as the president, with a crime or misconduct. All right, you have reached the end of part 1. Please go on to part 2.